What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is AustinAriail. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Definitely hit that subscribe button. You won't regret it. That way you can check out everything that I have and you'll know every time that I release a new video. So if you're already subscribed to the channel, welcome back. Today I wanted to unveil something that I want to do that's a little bit different, okay? There's a lot of exciting cars that are coming out in recent times, and what I want to do is what I want to call it. Let's see, what do I want to call it? Let's call it a mini series, for example, right? I'm going to make a different playlist on my channel, and these videos are going to be under that playlist. But what it's going to be about is cars that are going into production but haven't reached production yet. And I want to go through these cars and see if the hype that's being built about them is worth it, and then when they actually reach dealership lots, etc., hopefully I can get my hands on it. So in saying that, today the first vehicle I want to do is going to be probably one of my favorite vehicles in its segment for sure, but I'm very happy that they aced this thing. And yes, I'm going to be talking about the all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier. These are going to be raw feelings, my first impressions on these vehicles, so take that with a grain of salt, guys. I'm just purely wanting to show my personal opinions on these. Everybody has their own, so I can respect everybody's, etc., etc. So without further ado, let's go through the Nissan Frontier. And yes, I'm going to have accompanying pictures and everything like that on the screen with the videos. So let's talk about the 22 Nissan Frontier. So for one, it's in the mid-size truck segment. So competitors are the Ford Ranger. You do have the GMC Canyon, the Chevy Colorado, and I guess you can include the Honda Ridgeline, but not a lot of people want to consider it a true truck. So Frontier, it's been in production for the current generation. It's been in production for about 16 years, and now it's finally being redesigned. It's always been a very reliable and spacious competitor in its market, but now it's stepped into the modern era of mid-sized pickups. I think it means business. I mean, this redesign, they knocked it out of the park, okay? I truly think that this is going to be the new king of the hill in its segment, okay? Now, what do I mean by that? It's got a carryover V6 from last year, the 3.8, that puts out the most power in its class, according to Nissan. You know, that's before any new competitors or new refreshed models come into play. And the design of the truck looks like it came out of a Halo video game. I truly mean that. The whole design of the truck looks incredible. From the ground up, it does not have a bad angle. So, in saying that, what's new? The engine technically isn't new. It's a 3.8 V6 with 310 horsepower, 281 foot-pounds of torque. That's a pretty hefty number for a V6, especially a naturally aspirated one. So I'm very happy to see that. Now, what is new is the fact that it now has a 9-speed automatic transmission. I haven't seen anything mention a manual. I wouldn't be surprised if they do include one, just because competitors do have that, especially the Toyota Tacoma, even though it's more of a unicorn. Towing is about 6,700 pounds, okay? Payload is a little over 1,600 pounds, 1,610 to be exact, which is apparently 160 pounds more from the outgoing model, which is really nice. On the inside, some things that you'll find, you've got zero gravity seats that Nissan's known for, and new things are a new 8-inch touchscreen, which is standard, and then a 9-inch touchscreen that is optional. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is standard. One thing that they do bring into the modern era is the fact that they do have a lot of charging outlets, some that include a USB-C, which is really, really important. And then you do get a 9-speaker sound system that is provided by Fender, which is optional, of course. The big deal with this is safety. So there's a lot of safety features that are optional and or standard on the Frontier. Blind spot monitoring. You got lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, which is really nice to see on a pickup, automatic high beams. You've got emergency braking, and something that is class exclusive is rear emergency braking with rear cross traffic alert. That is really nice. Other things to make note, this is technically a carryover platform. However, there's been suspension revision and like motor mount revision, things like that, to improve the ride quality of the Frontier. So let's talk about the Frontier, okay? I am on my computer and I'm looking at these images right there with you guys. So we're actually going to go through this together in the raw, okay? So the Frontier, I want to start on the front end of the truck. So for one, I am absolutely in love with the headlight shape. It is incredibly simplistic, rectangular, almost squared off, and it's got the two LED running lights there. Mind you, the model that I'm looking at is the Pro 4X. That is their flagship trim level. That's the one I'm really going to focus on because obviously it's their debut trim, and it's honestly the coolest trim, so why not? But back to it. It is a full LED headlight unit, which I think is sick. I'm a little interested on why they went with reflector housings versus projector housings for the headlights. Maybe that was a cost-cutting mechanism. I don't know. But it's still good to see the individual slots of the individual LED headlights. Looks really nice. And I do also like the LED fog lights there. It looks really clean, but it just adds to the appeal of the Frontier. In the front, I do like that Frontier is emblazoned on the grille itself where it meets the hood. It's just a really cool feature there. I think Ford really pioneered that or made it cool when they introduced, you know, Ford big on the grille with the Raptor. I know a lot of other companies have tinkered with that before, but I don't think it really got like famous until Ford did that with the Raptor. And here the Frontier is making use of that. Also, the grille is blacked out, which is really nice. It looks like a satin finish or matte finish. Looks really neat. I'd be curious to see if it's going to be a plastic piece or if it's going to be an actual metal piece that's just finished in a matte finish. And then I do love the fact that on the Pro 4X, the emblem, the Nissan emblem, is like this reddish orange color. I think that's just a really cool sporty essence, and you see it carried over to the tow hooks on the front. I just think that's really nice, so I'm a big fan of that. Down below, you do see you have air dams there with the radar brick for the radar cruise control. Just a clean design overall, and it looks like all those are clean openings for that big V6 to get a lot of its air. And then you do see with that ride height, you can actually see the undercarriage does have a skid plate there. So you can tell that they did make that trim not only great for the pavement, but also great for if you want to go on an adventure. Now, getting to the side profile of the Frontier, I'm going to say first thing, hands down, the wheels are so sick. I love that Atlas-y, geometric, Aztec-y, I don't know what you want to call it, very earthy design of it. I don't care what the design language is called. I love the wheel set, and I love that it's got such a meaty tire on it. Until you have to replace them, of course. But I think it's a really clean design. I want to say they're 18s. They might be 19s. They might actually be 17s, but I think they look like 18s. I'm not seeing any clarification on that just yet. So if you know what size the wheels are, comment down below so that way educate me a little bit. Now, one thing I'm noticing on the Pro 4X, and I haven't seen any other trim levels, but you do have these huge fenders that poke out a little bit, which I think just aids in the fact that this trim level is meant for more off-road expeditions, but also to fit that giant tire in there, and I think it looks really, really good. One thing I'm seeing is on the window trim, you see that tiny little kink at the bottom. What other company has that? Ford did that with their F-150, and it's been a huge hit. And me driving the F-150, it was a great place to just like rest your arm or anything like that. I'm curious to see what their reasoning was for doing that on this one. So overall, really clean look. And if you notice in the actual fender flare, you do have that amber reflector there as well, which is really, really nice. One thing I do want to make note is that the door handles seem to be paint matched, which I do like as well. I think it just brings a level of, not necessarily luxury, but it brings it into a more upscale vision on the exterior of the vehicle, okay? And then let's get to the back of the Frontier, which I think, as simplistic as it is, I just think it looks really clean and really nice overall, okay? So you do have these LED running lights that are mimicking the front end, which if y'all remember from some of my other videos, that is one of my favorite things when a car company matches the rear fascia to the front. And they've done that here, and I think it's a very clean look. So I points up to you, Nissan. or hats off to you, whatever phrase you want to use. Looks really, really nice. Okay. Excuse me. I do like the fact that Frontier is emblazoned all the way across on the back, like a lot of older truck models have been as well. The font is really big. It's really bold. I'm a little surprised that it's not matched to the other badging on the back. They paint matched it. It doesn't look bad, but I'm curious if it wasn't paint matched and it matched the other badges on the back, how it would really, really look. I'm very curious of that. So overall, really nice design, very clean. It looks to be just a standard trucky truck. And then I will make note that the exhaust outlet is on the right hand side. I think it might have been kind of cool if they would have tinkered with a dual exit exhaust. I'm just reaching there, obviously, but I just think that would have been really cool. Let's talk about things otherwise. So, side profile view of the truck. It looks like the cabin's further back than the outgoing model, which is really nice. I'm sure that's safety-wise. But overall, it definitely looks like it's going into the future, okay? It really does look like it came out of a Halo video game. And I really think they aced the overall proportions, the design of the truck, everything about it. Really, really nice. Now, let's get into the interior of the Frontier, because this part I'm a little mixed on. And the reason being is my biggest gripe is the fact that the steering wheel is Nissan's outgoing steering wheel. Why didn't they give them the updated Nissan steering wheel? I don't know why, but they did in this case, and I just think that takes away from the interior, because I think the outgoing Nissan steering wheel was ugly as sin, and it's got some gloss gray accent. Doesn't even look gloss black, but I just think that looks really tacky. I do like the Nissan emblem emblazoned in the middle with the orange reddish color. I will say also that the gauge clusters, I know it's got a big digital screen on the middle, but a full digital screen on the flagship model would have been really, really sick. So I am happy to see a big touchscreen there, or a bigger touchscreen than the outgoing model with the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I'm curious to see what other luxury amenities you'll have. And then I do make note that there is a wireless charging pad there in the center console behind the shifter. I'm kind of curious of if your phone will actually stay put in that. A lot of vehicles with a charging pad like that, you can hit a bump and boop, there goes your phone. We'll see. And then the seats look to be a cloth material, to be honest, which I'm going to be very shocked if it is, just because I feel like if you're going to spend, I would assume 35 to 40 grand on a truck, like at least get a leatherette or something, you know, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. Outside of that, you notice it's just going to be a plastic fantastic interior. I'm sure it's soft touch materials, but at the end of the day, it's an economy truck. It's not a bigger full-size truck like a Titan where you're going to get leather, you know, heated, possibly cooled seats, etc. I get it, but it'd be nice to see a little bit higher quality of materials. But again, we won't know until we actually sit in this truck. Now, I'm going to say one thing. The shifter looks kind of enormous for what it really needs to be. I'm glad that it's down in the column, down in the center console versus a column shifter, but it just looks like it's super tall for no reason. I feel like they could have made it shorter just to make it look a little bit cleaner in there. And I love the fact that it has grab handles in the middle with the orange coloring on it. I think that looks really cool. Same thing with the dash. I see the orange stitching there. I don't know if this color is orange or red. I really don't know. I think it's orange. Tell me if I'm colorblind. But the stitching in the dash looks really, really clean. I think it's overall a really, really good, clean design for the dash. I just really wish, again, digital gauges and a newer steering wheel. And I think maybe paddle shifters would have been really cool on the Pro 4X, just because it's an off-roady kind of truck. Give it a little fun factor, you know. Outside of that, there's nothing really that I want to make note outside of the fact that you got more orange accents on the actual door handle itself towards the area where your knee would be. Overall, it looks to be a pretty common interior for what you'd want. It brings it sort of into the modern era. I mean, you've got your electronic switch gear for your 4x4 capabilities. You've got your dual zone climate controls. There's nothing really spectacular about it. I will make note that this model does have a surround view camera system. I'm actually going to show you a picture of it. right about now. It looks like the camera quality is actually really good, which I'm very excited about because recently I was in a Nissan Altima Platinum, and that surround view camera system was atrocious. The camera quality looked like it was a YouTube video trying to buffer. It was really, really bad. So I'm glad to see that they updated the camera. Navigation screen looks outdated, to be honest. It doesn't look fun. It looks very barbaric. I feel like they could have updated the software a little bit. So it would have just been nice to see that. And then here's another up close shot of the middle area here with the shifter. Here the shifter doesn't look as tall, so maybe it was just that angle, I don't know. But you can see with the phone charging there in the middle, it does look like it's ready to fall out if you hit a tiny bump. Two cup holders in the middle look perfectly in place, but I love those grab handles. I really do love those grab handles. And then outside of that, there's nothing really spectacular that is noteworthy about the interior. It seems to be updated enough to where it'll definitely be competitive in its market. However, I'm unsure if it's going to send people right to it. I think it's better than the competitors, but again, the competitors are also about to be redesigned, so hopefully it's still competitive there. And then outside of that, let's talk about the seats. The passenger looks like it's a manual seat from this angle. I'm sure the driver's seat might be a power seat. Granted, I know a lot of the competitors, they have manual seats for the driver, even on their top trims. But overall, I think the design looks really cool. I like the orange stitching. I love Pro 4X emblazoned on the backrest of the seat. It just looks really nice. And I love the texture of the seat too, because it looks like that pattern that you're finding on the outside of the truck, all those angles and rectangles and stuff, it's carried on into the seat as well, which is really, really nice. So the back seat carries on, but there's nothing important in the back seat really. I'm surprised they didn't bring the orange accents into the back seat. Kind of interesting on why they did that a little bit, but, or didn't do that rather. I couldn't give you guys an answer. So, but overall, I think the new Frontier is definitely going to set a new standard in the mid-size truck segment, not only for power, but for looks and honestly, reliability, because Frontiers are bulletproof. I actually grew up in a family where we had a few Frontiers, and you had to pour corn syrup in the engine block to destroy those things. You just cannot detonate them at all. So I think this is going to be a fantastic truck in its segment, and I can't wait to see these things on the road. So, in saying that, let me know what you guys think of this new segment that I really want to start up on my channel. I'm going to do it on so many different cars, just so you guys can see my true reaction when I first see it unveiled, and just to see how you guys like it in general. It'll be in a different playlist, but of course, when I can get my hands on the actual truck itself, it'll be perfect to do that. So, again, leave me your raw thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video and or like any of my other videos, subscribe if you already haven't, and hit the thumbs up. That way, it could definitely help support the channel, and hit that bell in the upper right hand corner, guys. That way you get an alert every time I release a video, okay? So, in saying that, thank you guys for watching a ton. I definitely appreciate the support, and we'll see what the next car is going to be. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.